Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you have followed me for any amount of time, you know that I have an amazing relationship with the team at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is the company formerly known as AffiniPay, who is the parent company of MyCase, DocketWise, CasePeer, LawPay, and CPA Charge. And part of my relationship with them, I am not an employee. I'm completely independent. I am a CPA. I own my accounting practice. I have owned an accounting practice since 2005. So 20 years as of this recording. I'm recording this in September of 2025. And my relationship with my case or the 8 a.m. team, I am an educational partner and they give access to a demo file of my case to me and other educational partners and my case consultants as well. And that demo file gives us the ability to go in and test things. So if I have a client who is on my case or my case accounting and they say, "Hey, I just did this and it doesn't look right," or "Something doesn't look right. Can you look at it?" I can look at their live file, like my client's live file, but I don't necessarily want to do test transactions in a live file. That makes me nervous. So having access to this demo file is pretty amazing for me because I can go in and I can post transactions and then it helps me explain things to clients and figure out how to fix them. Part of this access, I had decided at the beginning of 25 that I was going to start creating videos, a whole video series specifically about MyCase Accounting. Now, if you're on MyCase, that's a case management system. There is an add-on to your subscription that you can pay for an additional segment within MyCase, and it's called MyCase Accounting. MyCase Accounting handles all of your bookkeeping needs. So it would replace if you're using QuickBooks, Zoho Books, Xero, FreshBooks, Wave, Quicken. I can't think of any of the other ones. There's a whole bunch of different bookkeeping apps, but those are probably the most common ones that I hear. And when I started a video series in beginning of 2025, I wanted to go through step by step each section within MyCase Accounting. But then I heard that there was going to be a refresh, an update, an upgrade of the user interface. And so I stopped making new videos. I maybe had 7 or 8 videos done and realized that if I continued to create content using the old format, the old interface, it would create confusion. Functionality did not change, just things are geographically presented differently. So I stopped creating new videos. And then once the interface was refreshed, it was the summer and I had other things going on with my kids being out of school and stuff. So it's now September 2025 and I'm just sitting down to start recording videos again. And I'm starting from the beginning. And so my intention is every Monday to release a new video. I call this series My Case Mondays. And today we are going to start with the accounting dashboard. Again, I help clients that are on my case, like through the case management system, but because I own an accounting practice, I really want to focus on my case accounting. So this series, we're going to go through step by step the different sections within my case accounting. So here I'm logged into the demo file for my case and it defaults to the homepage, right? But we want to go down here into the modules. So if you go down the left side of the screen, there's the different modules within my case, and we want to click on accounting. So when we click on the word accounting, it expands that menu, the drop-down menu, and now we have these different areas to pick from. So dashboard, banking, income, bills and expenses, bank reconciliation, chart of accounts, and settings. And today I'm trying to do shorter videos. So even within like banking, there's like a sub menu for banking. So I will only do one video per subsection, per menu within banking and so on to make these a little bit shorter and easier to digest. So today we're going to work on the My Case Accounting dashboard. So the dashboard loads and there's 4 sections to the My Case Accounting dashboard. So this first section here at the top is unreviewed transactions. This happens when you have a bank account set up in My Case Accounting and it is linked to your online bank account where you can see those transactions. And what happens is when you connect MyCase Accounting to your bank, so whether your bank is Wells Fargo, Bank of America, PNC, whatever it is, if you have connected MyCase Accounting and linked and said, this account is this account in your online bank account, MyCase Accounting can pull the cleared transactions from your bank account into MyCase Accounting. And that becomes more efficient because if you have not yet entered any information for that transaction in MyCase Accounting, you can save yourself time, and a lot of the information is already going to be pulled in from the bank feed. So date, amount of transaction, and then whatever the description that comes in through the bank feed. It saves you time because there's less that you have to enter. It also helps you with like mistyping. So if you key in a date wrong or key in numbers wrong, the amount wrong, then you're going to struggle to get your bank account reconciled. And this works for bank accounts and credit card accounts. And so in this section here on your dashboard, it's just going to start off with unreviewed transactions. Because what happens, how this works is you connect your bank account to MyCase Accounting. And as transactions clear your online bank account, they get pulled over, populated, for lack of a better word, in MyCase Accounting, but they're being pulled into a queue. It's a holding section. It's like a bucket, if you will. And it's the transactions that have cleared your bank, but we're not quite sure yet. They're not posted in MyCase Accounting. Other bookkeeping apps do the same thing. They all have a similar feature with this. And so transactions come in to MyCase Accounting, they sit in this bucket, and then you have to review every single transaction. You're going to review it, and if you've already typed in the information when the transaction happened, then you can match it. So if it's already in your books in MyCase Accounting, then it'll actually pop up and say, oh, I think this is already in here. Is this the same transaction? You can click match and it matches. Or you can go through and review it and then update what you need to and then post it to your books. But we'll go through that in a different video in more detail. But this section here on your dashboard, this very first section, is just showing that, yes, you do have unposted transactions. And then it gives you the ability to review them right there, or you can sort if you have, you can filter if you have different bank accounts. But essentially, this is just telling you have some bookkeeping tasks that need to be tended to. Okay. So that's this first section. The second section, now I have a wide computer screen, but it's not very tall. So I can't show. So like this, so that's the whole second section. I can't show it all in on one screen, but it's not that big. It just doesn't fit all on my screen. But this second section on the dashboard for accounting is walking you through step by step what you need to do to get started with MyCase Accounting. Now, it's written as if your firm has been in existence and you're coming from a different set of books. So again, if you're using QuickBooks, Zoho Books, Xero, whatever it is, and you're moving to MyCase Accounting for your bookkeeping needs, that's how this is written. But even if you're starting brand new day one with your firm, there's still things that you have to do within MyCase Accounting to get it up and running. So these are the steps, and it walks you through step by step on how to get the information imported or set up correctly so that going forward, you're good to go with MyCase Accounting. So that's what this second section is. Now you'll notice that these sections, these steps have been completed because this company, like this test file, has been around since December 2022. So these sections were already completed. And then you'll notice that this last step here, or this one step here, connect your bank and credit card accounts, is not completed. And it still has the live connect button. And this situation is existing in this file because it's a demo file for a fake law firm. This is not a real company. That's not a real law firm. So there's no bank accounts to connect to. Okay. That's why this button's still here. Otherwise, it would say completed once you get up and running and get your bank accounts connected. So that's the second section. So now the third section, this is essentially the frequently asked questions. How do I do something? And so these are direct links to the help. If you'll notice, I hover over Learn Now, and then at the very bottom left, it's going to take me to a knowledge base article to explain how this is. So these couple questions are the basics, learning accounting concepts. And then the next one is categorize and match transactions. Okay, so it's the top things that people ask about. they're just linked right here within this third section on your dashboard. And then you can just click Learn Now, and it takes you to the correct article that talks about how to do that thing. Now, this last section, if this were me, I would love to have, if I had the ability to change this, I would love this to be at the top of the page, because being at the bottom, I sometimes forget it's here. But this is one of my most favorite things on this page, is this Insights dashboard. The default is month to date. And then you'll notice that there's other filters here. The other default is accrual, which most firms that I work with are on a cash basis. Now, the difference between cash and accrual, it's an accounting technicality. Cash basis is, do your books reflect, your books meaning your profit and loss statement, do your books reflect a transaction on the date cash came into your bank account or left your bank account? Or the date, the date you charged a transaction, or the date that you committed. Okay, so cash basis is the date cash came in or left your bank account or was charged to your credit card. Accrual basis says we're going to reflect a transaction based on when you committed to doing something. So probably the easier way to say it is from the income side, is on a cash basis. When you bill a client, you don't record the income until they pay it. Cash came into your bank account. On an accrual basis, the minute you invoice a client, you recognize the income. You just automatically assume they're going to pay it and pay in full. There's pros and cons of both approach. Like I said, most of my clients, and that's not indicative of the industry as a whole, but most of my clients are on a cash basis. So the default on the screen is accrual. I always go in and change it to cash. And actually a lot of stuff, because I work with clients on cash, like growing your bank account, I tend to shy away from the accrual piece, because it creates a situation where if you're a firm where you bill your clients and then clients routinely negotiate down their invoices, then I find that the accrual basis is skewed a little bit without doing any entry. So there's stuff, if you have accounts receivable and you're on accrual basis, you can do what's called a bad debt reserve or an allowance for uncollectible accounts. And it creates a lot more work, okay? Because then you have to analyze what your trend is on clients actually paying your bills in full and on time versus how much do you write off. I just feel better, like from me being a firm owner for 20 years, I feel better on a cash basis, because I know somebody could promise me anything, and until I actually see the money, it's show me the money from Jerry Maguire. My preference is cash basis. I do have, right now, I think I have one, maybe even two clients that are on accrual basis, but that was their choice. Like they had a certain need and accrual basis works for them. And so that's fine. I still support it, but I just think most law firms are on a cash basis. So just wanted to point that out. But then you have other possible filters in here, but these things, whether they work or populate, is based on whether this information is tracked with your MyCase, okay, MyCase Accounting. But you have a month to date. It always defaults to the month to date. And just like any other filters within MyCase, you would make your selection, and then apply the filters. So I changed that from accrual to cash. Now, you'll notice that once I applied the filters, all of this went to zero. Oh, except for this one card. We'll talk about that in a second. And that's because this is a demo file. It's not a live file. People are in here, and other MyCase consultants are adding transactions all the time, but it depends on the date. So at this point, September 14th of 2025, nobody's posted an accounting transaction in the month of September 2025 yet. So these are all zero. But let's just pick last year. Now there's been some transactions posted. So again, I picked last year just to show you how this populates. But this first section is for cash flow. Cash flow simply means cash in and cash out of your firm. Nicely, cash in is green. Green is good, right? And then cash out, you'll see most of this is zero. But here, it looks like in June of 2025, there was money out of $60,000. So you can just look at the bar graph, right? Or you can hover over any of the bars and get the details. So the little box pops up and tells you money in, money out, and then the net change for that month. Okay. And so again, just nice cash flow overview for the time period that you selected. And last year within MyCase, there's this drop down menu for defined time. Last year does not mean last year as in 2024. So I'm in 2025. So to me, last year was 2025. It means the last year or the last 365 days. So you'll notice when I clicked this, it populated the start dates of September 15th of 24 to September 14th of 2025. So the last 365 days. But I selected because I knew that would help me populate these graphs. But I just wanted to point that out. So the first section within this insights is cash flow, money in, money out. And then profit and loss is this next card, this next section on the dashboard. And what's nice about this is not only is it telling you, so for this time period, the last 365 days, it's telling you your net income. And if it was negative, it would say net loss. But it's also showing you the breakdown. How much income did you make? And then what were your expenses? Okay, so those two things. And then in this section are bills. Now, I do have some clients who question me on this because some firms will refer to bills as in they billed their client, meaning accounts receivable, meaning income. This section here where it talks about bills, that means bills that you owe to your vendors. So accounts payable. What do you owe to other people, to other companies? So your vendors, what bills do you owe? What have you paid? So this section shows, $1,000 for rent and then $250 for utilities. Again, this is a demo file, so this would look completely different for your firm. But bills in this section is expenses, payments owed to other people, money paid to other companies or other people. Then we get to this last section of this insights dashboard, and it does really nice at telling you your top 5 clients. So Nancy Test has paid in this time frame, which is the last 365 days, has paid $8,405. Okay, definitely Nancy's a good client. And then it's just going to show you your top 5 clients by how much they have paid you. And again, because this is cash basis, because I changed this cash basis up here, this is by top 5 clients based on who has paid you. If I had changed that to accrual, it would report by billing. Whether it's been paid or not is not part of that function. So accrual would just be what you've invoiced to the top 5 clients. And then this last section is just a continuation of, so we had this bills payment, this section up here. This last piece is bills owed versus what has been paid. Total paid versus what is still owed versus what is past due. Now, I find this piece a little confusing to me because this is past due. I actually created this $1,000 for rent. It's actually this transaction right here, this $1,000 for rent. I created that for September 2025 in here just so that I could have an item that populated in here. So I created a bill, and now total paid's not showing because nothing's been paid. Although curiously, I feel like this $250 utility payment should be reflected in this total paid. So I'm not really sure how that number gets pulled in, but this total still owed in my mind should be the $1,000 because it's past due. But I think, and we'll tackle this when we get into the bills and expenses section within MyCase Accounting. I feel, if my memory serves right, it's because of the way each transaction is tagged, or tagged might not be the right, labeled might be a better description there. But a transaction can either be paid or you still owe it, or it's past due. Still owed would be the tag or the label if you owed it, but it's not yet due. So for rent, if your rent's due September 1st and your bookkeeper or you went in and said, oh, on August 15th, went in and said, oh, don't, as a reminder, I'm going to owe $1,000 to my landlord on September 1st. Then from August 15th, when you entered that until through August 31st, it would be in this total still owed bucket because you owe it and it's not yet paid. And then September 1st, when you didn't pay it because it was due on September 1st, then it flips to past due. And so a transaction can only be in one. I'm pretty sure that's why this is only showing $1,000 in the past due. I'm pretty sure that's why. But we will tackle that when we get into that section. But again, I just wanted to do a quick video to go through what MyCase Accounting looks like section by section. So today was MyCase Accounting dashboard. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free, enter them below and I will answer them as I can. Or as always, if you want to contact me, my email is Kelley, and that's Kelley at profitscalethrive.com. And I'll leave a link in the notes below. Please follow me on YouTube. And then I'm also active on LinkedIn as well. Thank you.